What's up, everybody? As most of you probably already know, I am one of the top players that enters the most amount of tournaments, and this has given me a lot of experience and perspective when it comes to what it takes to enter a tournament and do well, but it has also given me a lot of time to reflect on some of the things that I might not have done well in the past, and so I would like to impart some knowledge on you guys that will immediately be able to help you improve your tournament results. The interesting thing about this is that none of it really has to do with anything in the game. I'm not going to unlock some new piece of tech skill for you, but these are the important things when it comes to being a tournament player. So here are 5 tips to help improve your tournament results. Tip number 1 is to not overplay. Overplaying is a trap that a lot of people fall into when they really care about something, and it's very natural to care about your tournament results. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do that, but what ends up happening is that people try to go for things they've never practiced before because they feel like maybe there's a slight optimization in some spot, and they feel like if they go for that slight optimization, then that's what's going to help push their tournament results. But in reality, what happens is that they end up overplaying, just like I'm a drummer, and if you overplay in a song instead of fit the groove, it just ends up in this tangled mess, similar to how in Tournament Melee, you go for this optimization, you've never practiced it, so maybe you fumble that, you end up in some scramble situation that you're not comfortable with, your opponent ends up punishing you, now you're in a position that you never imagined that you would be in, and you have to play out of some disadvantaged state, and that's not what you want. You want to play how you practice when it comes to tournaments. In friendlies, that's the time for you guys to try totally different new things that maybe you can take a look at later on and implement into your tournament play, but when the tournament comes around, you need to make sure that everything that you choose to do is solid. Tip number 2 is to manage your stamina and listen to your body. These are important things. I see a lot of people when it comes to tournaments just sitting and grinding friendlies the entire time. And when it comes to be like losers quarters, maybe winners semis, sometime around top 8, they are completely drained. And I'm sitting in winners grand finals, and a lot of times I still have the energy to continue going. A lot of that has to do with tournament experience, just being used to playing that many sets in a row. But also, if you watch me, I take a lot of moments to just collect myself, drink some water, sit down, maybe even just chill on my phone, read a book, whatever you do that doesn't really expend too much energy, because really tournaments are a battle of managing stamina. So make sure that you're not just playing the entire time, but also listen to your body. If you have that energy to practice with those people you might not otherwise get to play in a different setting, go for it. You might get a lot of experience that might end up helping you later down the road in the tournament. There's always this balance that everybody needs to find. If your hands are cold, go for it. Go play. Make sure that you are warming up so that you have that nice balance where you're not burnt out, but you're also just ready to play. Before we continue on to the next tip, I want to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. If you think you might be feeling depressed, anxious, overwhelmed, or stressed, BetterHelp is here to help. I know I've personally gone through a lot of situations where I feel very stressed or overwhelmed and feel like I need to talk to somebody outside of my immediate group of friends and family. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you. Talk to your therapist in a private online environment at your convenience. You just fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Then you schedule secure video and phone sessions. Plus, you can exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. You can request a new therapist at no additional charge anytime. Join the over 2 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/gingerssbm. Once again, thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the list. Tip number 3, formulate your thoughts productively. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. So instead of saying that you should win, say that you could win. If you are losing, you should be unsatisfied with your play, not disappointed in your play. If you phrase things like this in your mind, it will give you actionables. And this means that in a tournament setting, you can actually start thinking of answers to situations that you might otherwise find really difficult. It can be extremely easy to get bogged down when you're losing and can't necessarily find what you have to do. Maybe you're like losing to an opponent you don't think that you should be losing to. But just imagine that you could win, and you could win if, right? That's where your mind should lead you. You're unsatisfied because, and you're unsatisfied and you want more. That's what being unsatisfied is all about. Being disappointed doesn't elicit any thoughts that end up being productive. So make sure that if you're going through difficult times in a tournament, I mean, like, they always happen. You can't play your best every single day, but make sure that those elicit productive responses. It's very important. Tip number 4, don't look too far ahead in bracket. All the time, people come up to me at the very start of tournaments and they're like, oh, looks like you're gonna have, Lucky in winners finals today. You think you got him? And while those conversations can be fun to think about, and I'm sure everybody has their own local version of this, don't get too caught up in looking far ahead in the bracket. I would never think of it that way. When people ask me about it, I just think it's like a silly thing. And there are multiple pitfalls here that are kind of sneaky. So what can happen is an upset might happen. You might expect a certain player in winners finals and you haven't necessarily been following the bracket. You go up to plug into the tournament setup and it's not who you thought it was going to be. Not only is it a different play style, but it could be a different character. And if you have over prepared for the opponent that you were expecting, well, now you've just been thrown for a loop. And if you have any amount of discomfort within a tournament setting, it is not going to go well for you. On top of that, you could be thinking about what you're going to do against that opponent in winners finals or whatever, and not focusing on the set in front of you, which is terribly important. All the time I hear people like, oh yeah, I was too focused on the next set. I didn't even realize that I was like losing the one that I was currently playing. And Melee is such a fast-paced game that you do not have extra energy to spare. You don't have extra brain power to be thinking about what could be in the future. You have to think about what's happening right now. Don't look too far ahead in the bracket. Maybe look one place farther, but always focus on the set in front of you. Tip number 5, have fun. This almost sounds counterproductive in the sort of hustle culture that we have going, where everyone tells you just need to grind, but in all honesty, a lot of the times where I have played my best Melee, where I have sort of initiated flow state, those moments are moments when I enjoy myself the most, when I'm truly playing fun, creative Melee, where I feel as though I can express myself. A lot of people will say good luck, but if you're having fun, you don't really need luck on your side, because I swear, just try it out. Don't take things too seriously. Make sure to have fun at tournaments. I promise you, it'll end up actually benefiting your results, which is the thing that you care about regardless. So, like I said, these are some pitfalls that even I've fallen into the past. I've had unproductive thoughts. I have not managed my stamina well before. I looked ahead in bracket and didn't focus on the set in front of me. I chose to take it very seriously and didn't have any fun. I tried to implement new optimal things without having practiced them before, and they have all been huge detriments to my tournament results. So please, learn from my mistakes. And let me know if any of these tips have actually helped you guys. If you end up going to a tournament and implement any of these tips and they end up helping you, leave a comment below and I'll try to respond to it, because I sincerely think that these are the things that people should be focusing on that's actually going to be helping them in tournaments. Everybody talks about whether or not they should be doing solo practice or analysis or friendlies. These are the out-of-game things that will truly affect your ability to compete long-term. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. See ya. Get into it.